computer. Good afternoon and welcome to today's New York session, live trading with Pitchforks. Let's start sharing screen. I hope you are all doing well today. My doorbell may go and I'll have to go and see to someone, so apologies for that. That's why I'm trying to keep an ear on the door. I was going to message them on the phone, I can't find the phone number at the moment. So I just wanted to run through a couple of things from this morning. Now we've got USD red flag news, if you remember, at 4 p.m. my time. So that's in an hour, that's 3 p.m. UK time. So that will affect us not wanting to trade that. I know Les sometimes says he runs up until about half an hour or up until the news, but I think, you know, you need to kind of know what you're doing really to let the market settle down either way. So GBP JPY this morning, that was when we were on. I think someone's building a cupboard there.
Sorry, I'm plumbing.
So yeah, I've never used the word plumber so much in all my life, Helen and I were saying last night. Now I've got 2 taps that have sprung leaks, so I've got to stop mentioning the word plumber because I'm manifesting the need for plumbing jobs. I was trying to keep my Facebook open to look at comments, but for some reason I'm getting feedback. Okay, so we marked up GBP JPY for a buy. There was your stop loss, but for me, I said it was too big. It would have been 20 pips to cover the quarter theory, but it did indeed. I'm going to have to turn that phone off and work out how to do that. Sometimes I don't see people's comments on the live stream in the group, but it has gone up to do 20. It did 30 pips, but to be honest, I would not have got into that trade because of that stop loss. But it did the nice break and retest back to the 1-minute trend line and the 62, a very strong engulfing buy candle, came back to the 62 there. So if you could have got in there as well, which would have been 4.6 pips off, and then it moved quite fast up there. So I just wanted to go through that one with you to explain. Hopefully it's helpful. That I wouldn't have got into that for the stop loss reason, but it did do the business. So let's close that one down because at the moment there is no trade. Because if we look at it this way round, I think, and with GBP JPY, you want to have the perfect setup. It's a London pair, Asian pair. It's doing the same thing the other way, 21 pip stop loss. You do need the perfect setup. Having said that, that one did work out up there. And just looking at whether there's a fib, if you're into fibs, that might help you if you were interested in this one on the way down. So previous high, I think I'll take that one on the quarter theory rather than the next one to the right, to the low there. That doesn't really help us, I don't think. Just magnify it. Appreciate my screen might be a bit small. So 50, so after the 0 it hasn't quite done it, so I would ignore that fib. If I put it on that one, what does it do? Oh, you've got a perfect 61.8 rejection end off the 62 EMA actually. You take it off that fib there, so that is quite nice, but that means it's already down at 0. If you remember, so I'll take profit 1, minus 27 take profit 2, and minus 61.8, which is quarter theory, and there's the 15-minute EMA. It's our take profit 3 zone, so it's already completed on that small fib there. So we'll leave that one. I'm going to shut that one down. GJ. I haven't looked at the scanner either to see if there's any new stuff. Oh yes, I did see that. So there's a USD JPY, but that's fallen off the bottom there. I don't really like looking at that. NZD CAD, there is a new one here. I won't draw it because it's not one I trade very much, but I will draw it up and put it in the group later. and that is C to D leg, NZD, CAD, H1. It is a shark, so that's 199 pips. You need to wait for it to come up to second entry point, or take profit 1, or 50% between the two, something like that. And I'm very sorry, there's my doorbell, and at the moment, just give me 2 minutes. It's a French person I need to see. That's gone 40 pips. So let me just have a look. I'll leave you with, let's have a look, see. I was going to show you a couple of others. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so OrdCAD from this morning, which was the one Chance was in. So that, if you were in this and you're thinking, how many pips do I give up? That was our 10 pip take profit. You would have had to have gone right back to entry. I've been caught like this myself. So it's a difficult one, because if you cash out at the 10 pips on a 1-to-1, you think of that over a year, you're not really compounding your account as much as you can with this strategy. If you let it come right back, as in this case, although it came below the 62 and it came right down 3 times to that pitchfork, it did take off again, and indeed it came up here. So quite a difficult one, because the 62 was not in a very strong momentum. It is a slow pair, 4 out of 10. But it's difficult to cash out at 10 pips, as I say, on that 1-to-1. But then once you see it coming back down, your heart sinks, because you don't know it's going to hold that line and do this and not sort of turn down the other way. So I can't give you any more advice on that. I doubt very much indeed I'm pretty sure there's no way I would have held on to this all the way till it came up there. I just wouldn't have had the confidence. I wouldn't have had the faith. All that stalling out all the way through London until it took off here in New York. So I just wanted to go through that one with you. And I wouldn't have cashed out at 10 pips. Then once I saw it coming down here, I probably would have been stop profited out at 1 pip on this one, to be honest. So sometimes you want to kind of move it to the 5 pips to at least get 1%. But again, it's not always easy to do that, because some of the faster pairs in particular, you want to give them room to breathe, and therefore you don't want to get stopped out. Okay, so let's finish that one. And in terms of a setup at the moment, it's still on its way up. It's just coming back to test that new pitchfork. We'll try and find something with a quarter theory near it. I can't see a fib on that. We could possibly have a channel touch, which I don't trade myself very often at all. In fact, I don't. And I know Warren has told me how to. He has told me how to do this, and I've forgotten already. And I'm going to have to look up his message, because he told me how to clone a channel. So you can have it maybe like that. So channel touch is one of our confirmations. Let's just clone that. So you need to have the same angle. As I say, there's a hack for this. And there's a channel there. So sideways consolidation up there. But as I say, I don't trade the channel very much. So at the moment, you've got the pitchfork saying buy, you've got the channel potentially saying sell, the 62 saying buy. So not a lot of good ideas on ORDCAD. So I'm going to shut that one. I'm not going to put an alert on that. Or JPY.
Sarah.
Hello.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Are you on a PC or a Mac?
I'm just on an ordinary PC.
I think the shortcut is if you select the thing you want to copy and then you do Control C. I think that copies it, and then if you do Control
when you say select it, so I've highlighted that green line.
Yeah. So you highlight the line you want to do, and then
Control C.
I think on our PC it's Control C, and that copies it.
Yeah, and then pull it over there, and then Control V. Oh yeah, well done. I get you. Thank you very much.
You're
So
welcome.
I knew you knew things like that. Know things like that. So with ORD JPY, which we did look at in this morning's session, there's 10 o'clock my time when I came on here. So we had a break. We had the break and the retest of the pitchfork and the quarter theory, but then if you remember, it dropped below the 1 minute trend and it came down here. So we weren't quite sure about it, but sure enough, a great big strong buy candle there, and it took off and it really did its business very nicely all the way up to that. In fact, there you are, it did 35 pips in the end. So there's the next pitchfork level if you're thinking about where should I get out of this trade. As Chance said this morning, he uses the 62 EMA. So any of this zone here, you're up 1.1 to 3.5. You see all that stall out there rejecting the pitchfork. It makes another little thrust up, can't quite manage it. 2 strong sell candles down, and then you should be out the trade down here. So anywhere, once you're past your trade goal of 20 pips, daily goal 25 pips, up to the pitchfork 30 pips. So if you didn't get out there when you see all that stalling out and you're still, you know, I wouldn't still be in over here at 40 pips because you'd have to sit in it another, let's just take it from that, say we didn't get out there, you'd have to sit in it another two hours. There's no way I've got the patience for that, for another 5 pips or something, 5 to 10 pips, and I'm just not going to sit in pair like that. So, and then you see all that dropping down there. So how would you know it's going to go up another few pips there? I mean, it's just torture, isn't it? So you're best bagging the money on the ratio. So or JPY did what we thought. So I was quite pleased with that markup. Let me just get rid of that. So have we got a setup at the moment? It's doing a break and a retest of the pitchforks just on that 62 there, and you've got a downward momentum. I'm not going to mark it up though. I want to see if we've got any with quarter theory next to it. So that's GJ, AJ, and EURAUD CAD. Just want to close some of these down. Now GBP CAD, I didn't get that right. Well, I mean, it's not my fault. Or just, you know, it's just, I call it the markets. So I thought it was coming down past this pitchfork. Where's 10 o'clock? Coming down here, it did that break and retest, break and retest. It did go down. Sorry, it did do its business. I beg your pardon. This one did. It did come down 35 pips. I beg your pardon. That did do what we thought it would do. And then it's since turned round and going up for a buy, but in the middle, it's in the middle of nowhere at the moment. So that one, GCAD, I was quite pleased about. And I've decided what I'm going to try and start doing. I know I keep saying I'll sort myself out, but technology isn't always my strong point. I'm going to see if I can get in a routine of just literally doing my live trading when now I'm doing 2 sessions a day, because I don't really need to be sitting looking at the charts and doing things outside of these sessions. If I am on other things, I'd rather be on Sean's 7 till 8 UK time in the morning, or Les, who's on twice a day, and I always forget the time now, 1 PM and 7 PM, but he's looking at other times. So we want to look at when pairs are consolidating for that HFX strategy, I think. So that's GCAD, shut that down. EURAUD was one that I marked up outside of this morning. Oh, see, I've missed this one. So this was really interesting to me, but I had to go off and do something else. Can you see how it's come down into the outer fibonacci of this scan? So that's always a really good indication it's going to, you know, be pinged back in. I had it marked up, and I was looking at it just where it was. I put a fib on it and it didn't work. It came on down through, but sure enough, I've only just missed that. But no, nothing I can do about it. So it did a very big break and retest, and then it is a volatile pair because it came all the way back down. So how many? So that did 20 pips very, very quickly. So straight up, fast money, secure the money. If you were up 20 pips in 2 to 3 minutes and that wick, I would have pressed the close button on that trade, and sure enough, straight back down to 0 in the next 2 candles. And then another entry, it gave you another entry here. It's come down again, and it's given you another entry here, but it might be a little bit far off. That is 5 to 6 pips off, so it's up to you. It is a fast pair, and you can see how volatile it has been. Let's look at the pivots. So the pivots are retracing at the moment, lower highs and lower lows, a bit of retracing going on. But I did like this one for a buy. I'll just show you the scan. So this was the scan we drew up with the D point at the 4th of August. And it hasn't yet reached the median. It isn't a failed scan. I know you're going to say it's come right down here to the extensions, but I think that's okay. This is why I liked it, because I thought, well, that is a good point. This is one of the ones where we think, do we have to redraw the D point or not? Because it's formed the next low. So I must admit, I get a little bit underconfident at the moment about whether to redraw D points because we've been chatting about it so much. So normally in this one, I'd say because price has moved on so much, I'm not going to redraw the D point. That is the whole day. So the outer extensions have done their job. They've pinged it back in. And I'm kind of thinking I like this for, you know, now carrying on going up. There isn't a new scan on that, but if we come back, see what the 1 minute's doing. And then your take profit level would be up at that pitchfork where it meets the quarter theory, which is about 22 pips away. Trying to draw. So I've put a trend line on. It's just broken and retested it, but it is still holding on that 62 EMA. Just wondering if we've got a fib here. I don't think it's deep enough. So previous low, need to put the magnet on really to the high for a buy. And that, oh, that's back to the 78.6. So 0%, so that might work if you're interested in this. I'll do this on demo then. A buy on EURAUD, at least get that far with it. New order, blue for buy. Just drag that over. I've got all my euros on here at the moment. Sometimes I like watching them. And price 1.64308. $1.64308, 15 pip stop loss. $1.64298. And let's see how we get on with that. So your ratio on this will be 15 pips. Should really be 15 off the pitchfork for putting a stop profit in. So let me just measure it from down at that pitchfork. That is round about that 0%. So when it hits there, I'd be putting a one pip stop profit in down there, just for that risk-free trade, because it's very, very wicky, very wicky indeed. Lot of wicks, very fast pair. Okay, so let's see how we get on with that one. I'll put an alert on there. Save that. So that's EA. GA looks like it's selling, but I haven't got. Oh, that's done a big move down, hasn't it? 50, nearly 150, 200 pips over the last couple of days. So it's just coming down, testing that 15 minute. It's still in a strong downward trend. Where's our, let me have a look, see if I can find the scan, see, so you can tell if you've got the same scan or not while you're building up the library. So this was one of the ones where I was working in a different scan, that green one. So you'll have to ask me if you want to copy any scans sometimes chance has ones I don't have. Let's come back to the 1 minute then. So I haven't got a trade on the 1 minute at the moment because it's just between areas. So nothing on GA. I'm going to close that. And remember the Bank of England, all the Bank of England stuff tomorrow. So a lot of red flag news on the GBP. Let's look at GU. Now GU, you see these two green lines. This is a 15-minute channel that I marked up. And the reason I did that is because I was going over my trade ideas from this morning on the London session. And sorry, I've taken the slider bar off. I didn't mean to do that. But I had it as a sell and idea, and then it's been going for the buy. And when I came out to the 15 minutes, I realized that I don't think I'd read the chart correctly, because when I looked at the 15 minute and drew a channel on it, I know you've got two sort of big spikes there, but that aside, I realized that it was still in an upward momentum, and I must have been a bit tired. I thought, well, why didn't I see that? So I drew a 15-minute channel on. Let's come back to the 1 minute to see what it's doing now. And I thought, well, in retrospect, I don't think I would have marked that up the way I did. So here we are on the 1 minute. And 9 o'clock this morning, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. There, round about here, I was looking at it and I thought it would go down. And as you can see, it's carried on up. So, but it didn't really give us, a break and a retest. So I think that was a difficult one to judge, to get into. If you look here, what did we have? So it only came up, oh, it did the break and the retest off the pitchfork. It did do that with strong candles there, back down to the 62. Sorry, so we did have a break and a retest, and then the same off quarter theory, but not so big. So I think I just didn't read that correctly. I was looking at this break and retest, and then it turned around. Well, maybe it's not my fault because it did a break and a retest there, but it didn't come right back up, 1021, and then it went down. So I think this was quite difficult because that did go down 32 pips, but it didn't give us a clear break and retest to get into. It didn't even come back up and touch the 62, and then it went bang, it went down. So I found that difficult, but that did a nice sell there. And then it's done a break and a retest back to the pitchfork and come up strongly for the buy. But again, not a big break and retest on the quarter theory. And you did have, boom, you had that blue candle there. So, and it was all above the 62. So I just think it's a little bit more finesse involved in trying to read this one to get in for the sell and then into the buy. A little bit more complicated. So I drew myself a channel just to see what I was reading on that one. And then it came up and it did, if you hadn't got in, say you got in off that blue candle there, that did the 23 up to there, back down to the 62, a stall out. So if you had decided to stay in, we had to stall out for over an hour, and then it took off again. So it could be this week in the markets, you know, that's a lot of stalling out. I would have been out round about here, and I probably would have ended up 14 pips maybe. So got in a bit late, then maybe saw the stall out and thought about getting out, and then definitely would have been out here. I wouldn't have been staying in all that. I would have thought, oh, it's going to come down again. So I probably would have ended up with about 10 or 14 pips there. It wouldn't have stopped you out, but once it did that, you might have thought of getting out. Or if you had weathered it along, then you would have had a nice little takeoff up to there. So you would have ended up, let's say you got in on that one. 36 pips up to there. Depends how long you wanted to stay in it. So where are we on a trade right now? It's stalling out again. It's not making it, well, it's made it up to the quarter theory. So our next trade position would be down here. So I'm going to put an alert down here. Okay. But because of red flag news tomorrow, I'm not sure whether I'll do anything with that. See, it's just deciding it's jumping up again now. So that's GU. GN I've been looking at on and off all day. This is obviously one. Now, if you want to put the new indicator on, go to indicators. Look, this is 3 in 1. So it gives you the quarter theory even when the market isn't open or you're outside of current price. And it gives you the two EMAs all in one. So it saves you some indicators as well. Brown developed that, so it's very nice. Very nice indicator. So the EMA, I have orange, slightly thicker line for the 62, and then I have the blue, the 15-minute one, and then all these I just make the same. Oh, that's an alert's gone off on EA. So if you are in that, you might want to put your stop profit in. I'm only on demo, so I'll just finish doing this. Put a 1 pip stop profit in for a risk-free trade. It is a very fast pair. Wild. Have these all the same color. Okay, and then I can take off the individual ones. And then you don't get that glitching happening. And no trade, I haven't got a scan on that. Object tree. I've got no scan where price is at the moment. So I might have to look at a second pitchfork. So let's come back to EA. And EA is plus 5.6. So it's shot up and then it's come down. Only 5.6. Price 1.64308. Explains it. So that was your take profit 1 zone. Very wicky on that buy candle. The 62 is still going up. So it's still above that. 2 strong buy candles. So 308, 318. So given all those wicks, I'd probably, and I do sometimes get stopped out. 64, 318. Just for a risk-free trade. So I may well get stopped out. But I'm finding those wicks a bit unsettling. A big wick there off that 15-minute. Has it just come to test that and then drop down? But if you did want to run this trade, because it is a very fast pair, then the other way of doing it is have your stop loss moved up to just about 3 pips. This is what I do. 3 pips behind that. I don't use the trailing stop because I'm sat at the computer. I do it manually. So I'd be running it behind there to keep myself safe and the previous lows, but just squeezing it tight up. Although I don't like, obviously, having that drawdown. But as you can see from these big candles and the wicks, you can easily on a fast pair like this have it touch that and stop you out, because it might want to come down and touch that 62 EMA. It is now pushing up 10 pips profit, so that's very nice. So now you can be thinking about, do you want to push it to 5 pips, or is that candle going to crash on you and take you out at 5 pips, but you've secured 1%? So at the moment I'm still at the 1 pip. The 62 is pushing up nicely. That's now at take profit 2. On here we were a little bit late in, 10 pips. We were late in, if you remember. So I'm only on demo. That's just so definitely on a pair like this, a very fast pair, looking to push it to that 20 pips at the quarter theory and the pitchfork. If you get a wick up there and you see these strong 1 minute candles, fast money, as soon as it touches those, I'm out the trade, and definitely out the trade because of these wicks, these strong pushes up. If it's fast, it ain't gonna last. So and you're already at that take profit 2, and we were late in as well. But this is a strong take profit zone anyway, where you've got a pitchfork and a quarter theory together. So if that pushes up 12 pips at the moment, let it just push up. Just doing its thing. So that could come down and take us out at 1 pip stop profit, because it might want to come back down to the 62. This is the problem with very fast pairs. Just wicking off that 0%. So I'll just move this, see if we can get that. Let's see if we can get that to go up to our 20 pips. Because you don't get in these fast pairs, as Chance says, just to come away with 10 or 12 pips. So let's leave that one for the moment. GN, I didn't have anything. I'm going to close that one. Euro GBP. I didn't do anything with this. I just started to mark it up when we were in. It doesn't look like it's done a lot. It's not that fast a pair. It's in an upward momentum to that quarter theory, but it's kind of just going between this pitchfork and that. In fact, I think that is a channel. Let's just show you on the 1 minute. Doesn't look like it's doing a lot. I wonder how many pips that is from that low. 32 pips. For 6 hours. I mean, it's not a hugely fast pair, but so I did a little bit of a fake out down just as London was opening, and then it did, what was that, 30 pips up in London, 33, and it's just kind of ranging. That could be because of Bank of England tomorrow, so nothing happening on Euro GBP. Now you've got these parameters either side, quarter theory and pitchfork there, and the same below, sort of a mirror effect. So I haven't got anything on that. Euro USD, right up at this next at 1900. So it's gone all the way up there to collect that money from a long time ago. So I'd expect that swing down to start, certainly for next week, if it's not going to do anything this week because of GBP tomorrow and then non-farm payroll. So that's gone up again to collect money. Haven't got anything on that at the moment. What would that stop loss have been there? 16 pips. Too big a stop loss there. Still on its way up. waiting for it to turn and come down. Don't like the stop loss there. So we'll leave Euro USD. Euro CAD. Euro CAD, I was watching, this is my second pitchfork that I had, and I was watching this for a sell, and it stalled out all the way. Oh, where's my PC sessions gone? I swear to God, I never turn these things off, and sometimes they disappear. Oh, I don't know what's happened with that. I don't even know why it's done that. Oh, let me look over here. Move pane up. That's it. So where is the... I can't see the settings. Never mind, I'll have to sort it out later. I think that's okay. Just can't see why I can't see the settings, that's all. So on EuroCAD, I was looking at this earlier on for a sell. It stalled out in between my pink second pitchfork and quarter theory at the end of London. Tested the 15-minute, came back down, and then it shot off up for the buy instead. So I missed that one. It went off the other way very nicely, and it's still in a strong upward momentum. And then if it comes up here, I'm picking up, there's another pitchfork set, and I would move into my green one, because I've got a green scan rather than a second pink pitchfork. So the next entry level is up here, to see whether it rejects off that green one, which you should have on your scan. So I'm going to ignore that pink one now and put an alert to look at this there. So what we're going to be looking for is that or that. Okay, that's EuroCAD. Let me just come out of that. So I'm going to close that one. Just check the messages. Oh, that's okay. So EURAUD is rejecting nicely off the 0%. It's come above the 15-minute. It's just made it up to 15 pips. So it hasn't The 62 is still coming up and it's still above the 1 minute trend. Just for such a fast pair, it doesn't seem to be moving very fast, does it? And we've got some lower highs forming there. So it's always a tricky one, isn't it? Whether to, there's that big long down candle now. I was just going to say whether you're going to get stop profited out, and look at that. Right, bang, that's probably taken us out. 2.1. So just touching the 62, very volatile, out, take me out at 1 pip. So it did make take profit too at around about 15 pips, trying to stretch it up there. That's the decision you have to make. It's come back down to that 62 now. So we want to see whether it might give us another entry. Let's take that off and move that. Oh, it's coming back up now. Off that, I think I'll better leave it so we can be able to do some analysis on it. So it just wicked off that. Let me move that out of the way for you. 6308 we were in. So it just wicked down, that 62 held it. But it's very wicky, isn't it? And then there's our trade trend line. So we had an entry trend line and a trade trend line, but we want price to stay to the left, to stay above that 62. Then we know the 62 is sending it upwards. So that's very wicky. That is our, there's a 3, 5 touches there. So there, I'll take that one off. I've got fewer to look at. So I still believe this is going up, but then, you know, what can you say? Very strong candle down there. So it dropped how many pips? 10 pips in 1 minute. 10 pips, what's that? 100 million, 10 million, sorry, 10 pips, yeah. 10 million a pip. But as I say, it is the single most peculiar week in the market each month when you get non-farm payroll. And tomorrow won't be an easy trading day because of what's happening on Friday. And we've also got the GBP stuff. But even if you didn't have that because of non-farm payroll on Friday, so it won't be the nice sort of trading that we're sometimes used to. And look at that great big candle there. So pushed up, big moment, spring up, down, but we are at least, let's look at what the pivots are doing now. So we've got higher, there's one touch back there to the pitchfork, higher lows, and we've got a second higher high there. So I'll leave that alert up there. Let's see if it carries on. Right, so Euro NZD, that one, how are we doing for time? This one I thought would sell, and it didn't. So that was, so 10 o'clock when we were on this morning. Oh, that's right, it was caught in the price trap, this quarter theory and that pitchfork. So I put the alert there. And it ranged through there from, that's 10 o'clock, that was when we were on. So if we discount that, from there to there, an hour and a half. And then it came up into here for the rest of London, pushed up instead. Let me remove that. So, and then came back down, touched quarter theory, and then it's carried on in its upward momentum. And now it looks like it's turning. So where's our scan on this one? So we had a D point of the 3rd of August. It completed that. This is a fast pair as well, very, very quickly. Just in the New York session, that may have even been news looking at that. That's 50, 100, about 130 pips up to the extensions. And then for a day or so, it rested. And then the next London session, it made 100, made 50, about 75 pip move down. And here we are over here, the current moment. And I haven't got any other scans on this, so this is my latest one. Can't put a fib on that, there's no fib. It just looks like if you put a channel on it, that it's breaking out of that channel. That must be news. So broke out the channel down to quarter theory. Here's our channel here. So if it carries on up, we put it, that's not going to work. So what we want to do is put EN. Let's see what that looks like. So if it starts to turn around, see if it comes up into here and then does a break and a retest down. Or if not, I wouldn't be looking to get into that until it cleared that quarter theory that way round. Okay. Up to the extensions, that might work. Might want to carry on up to the extensions. So what we're looking for is a rejection or that, and then for it to, the extensions to ping it back in and then start to come down. Okay, so that's the markup on that one. So I'll just put, I can either watch it now, just coming up to the hour, so I don't want to be too much over because of all the live sessions we like to be on. So I was going to put an alert on that, but all that'll happen is this will go off. We'll just wait. I'll just wait to see what the hourly candle does. Let's see what that's telling us. And then we just have a final look at EA. So the hourly candle, last 10 seconds, is a doji candle, indecision 50-50. It can't make its mind up. The previous hour it wicked off that pitchfork. So the story that's telling us on the hourly is it doesn't want to go any further, and it's opening as a sell candle on this new hourly. So very important candle, that last close there. If it had closed above the pitchfork with the body, then it was still pushing on up, but that's a doji, indecision, wicked off the pitchfork, fading, doesn't like it. There you can see here, you had that one when Tokyo, just before London, big wick off, small volume, strong sell candle, engulfing buy candle to quarter theory on that hourly. Caught between the quarter theory and the pitchfork for the sell, tries to push up for the buy with a long wick, and then manages to break through, and now is having trouble breaking through to the further upside. So if we just come back on the 1 minute, and if it is doing a break and a retest for the sell, then you know the rules. Find the 3 confirmations. Just come out that magnification. Okay. So we've got a break and a retest here of 10 pips. You've got to wait for it to go below the 62, and then you need a third confirmation. So a break and a retest of the 1 minute trend, or put a fib on it, or that it's going to break out of the channel. So we've got quite a few lines on this. So what else have we got? Let me take that off. So if we're looking at this for a sell, then we've had a break and a retest of 10 pips. Let me try and get rid of some of these lines. We don't really need them all now. That was the channel, which might confuse us. So break and a retest of the pitchfork by 10 pips. We haven't got it below the 62, which I do like to see, as you've seen from other trades this morning, to be safe. And then, okay, can we do a trend line? Would that give us our third confirmation, because we haven't got quarter theory? Well, I think we've got that, haven't we? Trend line up, break and retest and down. So that would take you 5 pips away from your pitchfork, and then take profit zone down at the lower pitchfork level of 1.78150. So I'll leave that one with you, but don't get in it if it is going to carry on selling, which is what the hourly candle seemed to indicate, unless it's below that 62 EMA, because it's a very fast pair. You need the 15 pip stop loss. You haven't got your quarter theory covered. Technically, really, you need to take it up to about 17. And it's a very fast pair. And then EURAUD, that's just coming up. I'm out, as you know, I was only on demo, but I was stopped out, and that's just coming up. So that's why it's nice to hang on to these fast pairs, because they do tend to do their business very nicely. So that is just coming up now. 3, 4, 5 pips away, 4 pips away. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. That's everything for today. Oh, I've got some things in the chat. Hello all. What was the alert on? Don't know, can't remember. I heard it off. I think it was EURAUD, but I'd moved the alerts. Hourly fake out. EN, there is a bigger trend line that fits well to the 1200 UK low. Oh, thank you. Let's have a quick look at that. You're very welcome. From the high on the 4th. Oh, okay, so what do you mean by the 12? Oh, I see what you mean, 1200 there. I'll come back down. You have a look at the chat. From the high on the 4th, 1 p.m. your time. Bigger trend line that fits well to the low. Okay, thank you. Just get rid of some of these. Looks a bit messy. Right, we'll just finish by having a look at that then. 1200 back here. So 1 p.m. You mean here? I'm not quite, I'm on the 1 minute. I'm not quite seeing your I'm not quite seeing your trend on this. Or I'm on the 1 minute. Because I've got equal lows along here. The Fibonacci's have done their job and pushed price back in. So that, if I take that trend, oh, maybe is that what you mean? One o'clock my time. Do you mean that one? One p.m. my time. I'm still not quite seeing it, I don't think. Let's see if the high on the 4th to 1 p.m. today, where it crosses quarter theory. To 1 p.m. today, where it crosses quarter theory. To 1 p.m. Oh, I see what you mean. So this point here. Oh, I get you. You mean like that? That's it. Got a good reaction from the retest. Oops. Right. That's really helpful. Thank you very much. So, zoom in on this. I see what you mean. So, quarter theory, which as we know is very, very powerful. That's an hourly fake out. There's the upward trend. So what you're saying is that it's carrying on up. Is that what you think? Well, depending on what your trade ideas are on this, if you can put it in the Forex team messenger chat, that would be very helpful. I see what you mean. That's nice. Take it off that point there. Right. So if that's the case, what we're saying is it's still above the 62 it's buying. It's pushing above the pitchfork. So take that off. I think that's what Charlie's saying. And look at it the other way around. And then I'm going to leave you because I've got another call. So put it on that way round. That would take us up to the Fibonacci's. Fast pair, 15 pips stop loss. Okay. So just wait for that 62 to creep up a bit more. The problem with it is you've got that barrier of the quarter theory at 8 pips on that one. So that wouldn't be my preferred type of trade at all. In fact, I wouldn't take that trade until it had done that, personally speaking. So I'm going to stop share now. Thank you so much for contributing. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Charlie. It was really, really nice of you to help. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I will see you tomorrow. And happy trading. See you on some of Les's and then Sean again in the morning.